What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Project Potter. Welcome back to Gotta Get Back, the Samurai Jack and Review Show. My name is Kyle, your host. If you haven't seen the channel before, thanks for stopping by. Go check out the other content we got, guys. MCU content. We got Star Wars content. We got Batman content. We got a whole bunch of content. But this specifically is for Samurai Jack and Review. And I do this every time. I keep forgetting this is mirrored. Guys, can you look at this damn picture right here, dude? What? All of my complaints about episode 2, where I was like, I don't know, I was like feeling kind of iffy about reviewing the show still. I really liked the pilot, and then episode 2 was like such a bummer where I was like, I don't know. Oh my God, were they answered in this episode? What a damn episode this was. Yeah, this one was great. If you haven't seen the show before, guys, it's a quick review. Magic Sword, which is going to be my favorite actor or actress, or in this case, favorite character. So it's really character for this show. It's not really actor or actress. We're just going to do a more generic version. And then we're going to be like a favorite scene, a score, and some Jack facts if there are any. But yeah, we're going to jump right into it here, guys. So we start off the Aku's Destroyer Beetles. Kind of weird that they're beetles, but also kind of like apocalyptic type of deal. It starts off with one of the dog watchmen or whatever. He's got like again, it's like, I wonder if Gendy, I mean, he ended up doing a Star Wars, Clone Wars, but I feel like he must have gotten a lot of inspiration from the original Star Wars trilogy, because we start off with like a scanner or like a scouter from Star Wars, basically. And it's like all the beetles coming, and they're like, Jack, how are you going to fight all those beetles? Like, you need to prepare. And he just says, I need weapons. And they're going to be here by daybreak, they say. And so it's nighttime, and somehow within one night, there's like this great montage, where they're building machines there that they usually do to like dig or excavate. Jack rips off like a piece of sheet. He gets some rocks, he puts it down, and he's like, all right, I need to put together a plan. He looks what he has around him. He sees like old machines that are no longer being used. He sees a tractor, and he's like, all right, how are we going to take what we have and turn it into like weapons, basically? So the dog gives him like a ballpoint pen. Jack doesn't know how to use the pen, which I thought was kind of weird. I was like, all right, you're like a samurai warrior. You trained to kill, but you don't know how to use a ballpoint pen. But I guess, I don't know. We don't know how far Jack was flung in the future. We know it was far, but like maybe they didn't have ballpoint pens, clearly, because Jack obviously doesn't know how to use this thing. But it's funny because he clicks for him, and then Jack starts writing down. And there's a great sequence where basically I love this part because they took what they have and they turn things that are not normally weapons into weapons. So they like the excavating tools, they like drive them up so they intentionally fall over because they have like these claw things, and then they like eventually put rocks into them as like catapults. They have like their spaceships that instead of using them just to fly around, they actually park them like into like these big rock structures. And then like eventually they have the engines facing out so that Jack eventually like hits launch on them and the fire comes out. So they're basically flamethrowers. The crystals that they've been mining, turns out that Jack like puts his finger on one of them and they're really sharp. So they're using those as like makeshift arrows. So Jack actually like builds some bows here, and he's shooting the arrows through everything. They have like these giant like unicorn horse type things. I guess it is more just like a horse. I don't really know where I got unicorn from, but they're like half robot, half horse, but they're giant. So they like, kind of put armor on those. These dogs are all really good like welders, apparently. So they like make all this armor overnight. They put sick armor on the giant horses. They put armor on Jack. They build these little machines. It's really, really cool because they take everything that they had, and like I said, they turn it into weaponry, and they really like gear up for war. And then Jack has to put together like the flag or the insignia. So he like puts his own like Samurai Jack insignia there, and there's like two dogs like who are walking across with a part, and their like feet are wet, so it gets paw prints on them, and he's like, dude, you ruined my insignia. But then he realizes actually the perfect insignia, which is what you see up here. And they give Jack like this awesome samurai helmet, and he's ready to go. And he's got, it's funny because it's like a makeshift armor set. So he's got like literally like a pan on his head. And then there's like a little like statue of a dog that he puts right on top It's like a bulldog. And there's an awesome like silhouette shot of him standing on the top, the flag blowing in the wind. Not the shot at the end here, but he's basically like ready for battle. And it's really, really cool because they again, they like dig a moat out. They do everything they can. Now this is all supposedly within one night. So I was like, all right, we're kind of stretching time here, but that's okay. And so there's so many beetles coming, and daybreak finally comes. And, the dog scout is looking, and he's like, oh, everyone get ready. Here they come. Like, defend yourselves or whatever. And Jack leaps over with the giant, like, horse thing, and it's an awesome shot. And it's got this badass armor on it. And he's riding, and he's got the flag with the dogs on there. And Jack is ready to rock, dude. He's ready to mess these beetles up. And he's, like, also mastered how to ride this thing overnight because he, like, pulls back and it stops immediately. But you see almost like 300 with all the Persians coming. You see all like over the hill, all of these beetles come over, and the dust is kicking up. And there's so many. There's like hundreds upon thousands of beetles coming, and they're like ripping through everything. They're busting through like the environment, and they're going to stop at nothing. They're like the death beetles basically. But Jack is ready, dude, and so Jack starts fighting them, and we get the triple scenes coming in where it's cutting through, and it's all awesome. So they start putting the catapults out there. It's taking out the beetles. Jack's he's riding the horse. He's got the bow and arrow, and he's like precision shooting through, and it's taking them out there. They're using every trick that they have, every trap that they set up there. They put like explosive barrels out there, and Jack's shooting those, so it like ignites the oil, and the oil sets on fire and starts blowing up the beetles, and then like they catch fire to each other. And it's really, really cool because they put the beetles right into their trap, and they really are super prepared for this attack. Jack has like 4 arrows at once that he's shooting, and I'm like, I mean, we didn't know he like mastered archery. Like that was part of his training in the pilot episode. But then he's got like a huge spear out of the crystals that they had, and he's like running, and he just starts like piling up the beetles, and they're literally going one on top of each other as he's riding this horse. There's an awesome shot where it like pans back, and he's using the horse's helmet, like the metal helmet, to like ram through the beetles. It's all so sick. It looks so good. It's fast paced. But Jack's like just shish kebabbing these beetles. But it's funny because he's doing so much damage, and he's throwing the spears, and it's kind of catapulting onto each other. He leads them eventually into like a divot that they made with the crystals, so that it's like, and these are so sharp that it goes right through, and they all start like blowing up basically. But then the beetles like go over those beetles, so like they like use the dead bodies as like a floor or like the ground there. There's a cool moment where the beetles like stop and they like go on their hind legs, and it's like you see the red there, and they like that's when you know it's on. But Jack's on the horse, and he's ripping through, and he's slicing up these beetles, and we get so many of these cool shots that are cutting in and out. They're going horizontal and they're going vertical, and it's like these replays. One beetle actually gets on Jack, and it like tags him down, and the flag goes flying. The beetles are like going over the flag, so it kind of rips up the flag a little bit, and we think this beetle has Jack pinned down. There's a great pan in shot, and then you just see Samurai Zach. You just see Jack's sword like go up through the beetle, and he loses his helmet, but he's got to fight all these beetles now. There's like 7 or 8 of them surrounding Jack, and it's just him and the sword now, but he's still determined, and he knows like what he's got to do. And the dogs aren't helping him here, but like obviously they don't have the fighting expertise to kind of help out with Jack, so they'd probably just die. But Jack is like, he's fully in on it now. He's like, dude, I'm just going to do this on my own. He's like, I'm highly trained. I got this. But the beetles are overpowering him. They're like pushing down on him. It's a machine against Jack, and he's getting a few of them. He's cutting them up. So it's cool because he's cutting them up different ways, and it's cutting different ways, and they're blowing up. But eventually one does like get him, and it kind of like starts squeezing him. And the only way to escape, he has to like escape out of his armor. So he just starts kind of like slowly losing pieces of his armor there. And even though they've taken out so many beetles, it keeps cutting, and it's just like they're just nonstop coming. Like it's just it doesn't matter if you've taken out 100, there's 300 more behind them, and it's just like they're never going to stop. And Jack is doing this all, and the fire's burning, and it's really cool. It looks visually like super pleasing because like the environment's burning, and Jack's running over here, and he's running around, and they're doing like this little waddle towards him. But they like set up logs too, so like they cut most of the log, and then Jack like pushes it with his feet, And so that slams on him, and it seems like he's doing really good damage to all these. And like I said, he's taking out a bunch at a time, but more are just coming nonstop. And it's like this warrior, man. He eventually leads the Beetles to the aforementioned planes, or not planes, but the spaceships that are wedged in the rocks. And he leads them to kind of climb up, and then he presses launch, and it fires down on them like a flamethrower, and then he jumps to the other one and presses it. So that was really cool. And I was just super impressed at how many different ways that like he's clearly outnumbered, but he wasn't outmatched because he came prepared, and he came up with a strategy, and he's like, all right, like this is how we're going to be able to take out all these guys, all these Beetles, even being outnumbered, is because we're going to have X, Y, and Z that are taking them out. There's an awesome scene where it eventually, after like Jack uses up all the tricks that they have, basically he goes out and he's surrounded, and the Beetles are like circling him. And it's really, really cool because he's just like looking down. There's a scene where it cuts to like the eyes, the reflective eyes, and it's Jack in like every shot. And even though these things are robotic, like you really do feel like they're very menacing, and it's crazy. But Jack is like, all right, there's no more tricks, there's no more running. He's like, it's just time to fight. And it cuts to the iconic Jack eyes, where he's determined. The dogs are all scared in the house. They're looking in there. They know like this is basically their people that they're fighting for, but they know that they can't really help Jack. So it's really just up to Jack to save them. My favorite shot, I think, other than this over here, is that right before he goes to fight them, he like holds his sword back, and the camera's behind him, and it's so cool because you see the beetle reflected in his sword, and then it just slowly pans, and then you get the Jack eyes, and it's like, dude, you just know that like it's about to go down. And so the Beetles come at him, they like raise their pincers, and Jack just starts jumping and slicing, and he's holding his own really well. He gets cut a little bit, so he's like, he's got cuts and scrapes, but every time he gets back down, it just like rises up, and it's got like the triple frame, and you can just tell he's like, nah, dude, I'm not gonna go down that easily. So he like eventually throws his shirt off, dude. He's like hulking it out. He just holds his sword up, and he's like, oh, y'all want to play now? And he starts cutting up the Beetles again, and it's just sheer determination at this point. But eventually, like, he gets cut again on the chest, and he just jumps up, and it's like a slow-mo of him going over. He cuts one Beetle, and there's like this oil that spills out. And I don't know why the rest of them didn't spill that out, but it's like a slow-mo. He cuts it right down the middle. Oil comes out, and it goes over his face, and it's like covering his eyes. And then it's just like he slowly opens his eyes, and he looks sick, dude. He looks so cool. And so then like he starts fighting. There's like a slow-mo scene where the beetle like goes to slice him, and he like dodges it, and then just slices it in half. And then every one he kills, more of that oil comes out, and then he eventually cuts one right through the middle. There's an awesome shot where he jumps through, cuts it, and then like as he's going through, the oil is like facing this way, and it's getting a little carried away here, guys. It sprays him, and it just covers him, and then that's where he looks like this. And so he just fights. There's like an incredible shot where once he's fully covered and he's in it now, he's just killing everything, and he will stop at nothing, dude. But there's like a slow pan up, and he's literally dripping from head to toe in this oil, and he looks so dope. And he's like, it's time to finish this, dude. And it's like we get so many cuts where it's like literally the screen is like tearing, where it's not a clean cut. It's like it's a diagonal cut, but it's like it looks like it's like shredding, and it's just like Jack constantly going back and forth, and it's so cool. It's like the music's playing, and Jack is just like he just wrecks everyone, dude. And eventually it cuts up to this shot here, where he's basically declared victory, where he's holding the flag, which is ripped up, which he went back and got. He's still covered in oil. His sword is covered in oil, dude, and he's just like that's all he needs to do. The dog eventually like comes up, and he's like, oh, thank you so much for saving us. That was great. And they're like, do you want to come with us still on the journey? And he's like, no, I can't. I have to stop a coup. I need to stop. My journey is to stop a coup and his minions. And he's like, I must defeat the demon himself and stop this madness. And it's like, man, he's like, dude, I'm going to stop at nothing. But the dogs do say like, thank you so much for saving us. We're indebted to you. Like, no matter where you need us, like, you can call on us. So That's good to know that, like, in the back pocket, he's like, look, I don't know what you can do, but we know they can build things. We know they're resilient. We know they can follow orders well. So that's a good little, these are kind of like the first friends that Jack has. So he's not just alone in this world now. He has some resilient friends that he can rely on if he needs to. But oh my God, what an episode, like, for real. Okay, guys. So for the magic sword, I mean, this is the easiest one, dude. It's Jack. It's Samurai Jack, 100%. I mean, it's a one-man wrecking show, and he killed everything in so many different ways. He orchestrated the attack. He led the dogs, and yeah, they set everything up. But he's like, hey, build this and do this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to kill this, and I'm going to get covered in oil. And man, he was so badass. And this really showed you, like, the potential of the show. And like all of the complaints I had about last episode, where there being like no action, they cut out of it, and the story wasn't interesting, and it was filler. All of that was completely resolved in this one, because it was like, we gave you a really good pilot. We gave you kind of a middle episode, and then the third episode, it's like, guess what? This is going to be our best one yet. You're going to see crazy, insane action. You're going to see a great story. You're going to see redemption arc. You're going to see preparation. You're going to see really cool different styles that we're using, where we're cutting the screen different ways we haven't seen it before. Jack 100% gets the magic sword, because that magic sword just killed like hundreds of thousands of Aku death beetles. And this also sends a message to Aku, where it's like, oh, this guy means business. Like, you're not just going to roll over Samurai Jack. He's going to be a problem for you. So 100% Jack gets my magic sword. For a portal in time, this one is hard to choose a favorite scene, because there's so many good ones. But I really think it's got to be that one shot where it pans up to Jack, where he's dripping in the oil. It looks so good. I thought about giving it to when he's holding the sword back and it's reflecting, the beetles are reflecting in the sword, because that was really cool too. But dude, when he is fully covered and he's dripping and the beetles are looking at him, and even though they're robots, you can tell they're like, oh, we know what's about to come next. Like, this is the end of us. Like, you just know he's in full beast mode, and Jack is going to wreck everyone. And yeah, that one shot is majestic. It's so cool. For a score for this one, guys, I wrestled with this number for a while, and as I was kind of watching this, I was like, all right, I usually have like an idea in my head of where I'm going to score it. And then the episode kept going, and I was like, oh, and this was really good, and this is really good, and this was cool, and this was cool. And then there were just more and more scenes. For this one, I think I have to go with an 8.9. I really wanted to put 9 in front of this one, but I'm trying not to overscore everything. Just because I'm trying to give like I'm trying to give a more fair score. So an 8.9 for this one. Very, very, very strong episode. The best one by far of the 3 episodes that we've seen. So really excited to kind of see. It feels like this is kind of where the show like figured out what it wants to be. Like, oh, this is the potential of the show. Like, it's like Gendy said, like, okay, we're going to kind of bring you in the first couple episodes, strong pilot, and stick around with the second episode. But then episode 3, they're like, guess what we can do? We're going to show you the artistic style. We're going to show you the story, all of this awesome badass action that you're used to seeing in like samurai movies and westerns and everything. It's like, we're going to show that in a cartoon. That's something that's never been done before. And so that was really, really cool. And this one, by far, I think one of the best episodes probably of Samurai Jack of the whole series. And we'll see how it holds up as we go on. But yeah, this episode is just phenomenal from start to finish. Okay, guys, so the only Jack fact that I got for this one, the steed that Jack rides, the horse that I mentioned earlier, is called an Equiort from Thundar the Barbarian. Now, I don't know what that is, but that is the Jack fact we got, guys. It's a fact for you guys. It's not necessarily a fact for me. That's just what we got. That's the episode. That's the trivia. That's the fun Easter egg. That's the fact. That's what the show is. That is the only Jack fact for this one. All right, guys. Well, that is it. That is another episode of Gotta Get Back, the best one by far. And this is the first one where I was like, okay, let's watch episode 4, like right away. So we're still going to release these week to week, but I may do these a little ahead of time because I am now like really excited for the rest of the season as the series goes on. I think it just gets better and better as the series goes, which most series do. But sometimes you get early episodes that are better and then the later seasons kind of like don't pan out. But I think the series just gets stronger as they kind of learn more of the animation style and as they keep going. But yeah, this one, I mean, oof, this one was a great one. So I'm really excited, very happy with this episode, guys. Thanks for checking out Gotta Get Back. Thanks for checking out Project Potter. Hope you like this content. Hope you enjoyed anything else on the channel there, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, ring that bell notification. Subs are going up, views are going up, dude. I'm still super new at this. We're less than a year into creating content, but I'm having a blast. So thank you guys so much for joining me. Thanks for taking the time. And until next time, guys, gotta get back.